Good morning. Do you guys remember how to say it in Thai? Anybody? Oh, not bad, not bad. And we also say buenos dias where I'm from. So it's good to be here again. Just a quick thing because people have been asking, what the heck are you guys doing here? You're not students. You're way too old for that. But I see you around. We're living in Hillsboro. We got a 10-month study leave from our mission. We've been on the mission field 17 years. And so we're around. So my wife and I, you'll be hearing from Karen after this, we're available. Available means if you have questions about missions, if you have questions even about your faith or you're going through a hard time. Obviously, you got guys like Ryan and teachers that are there for you guys, but I'm one of those extra people on the campus, so you'll see me around a lot, and been helping with the basketball team, acting as the chaplain for the basketball team, but it doesn't just have to be the basketball team. It can be any students. You see me in the cafeteria or anywhere. If you want to talk, just come and get us. Often we'll be together. So I just also want to let you know about these hot off the press. If you are interested in mission trips this summer, it's called Uncharted. We'll have some there. If you want to take one and see what our mission is offering this summer, we got a bunch of trips planned. We're also going to plan a big one for 217 and do another. It's basketball focused, but there's other sports actually that we're trying to get. Volleyball and right now volleyball is big in Thailand, and also soccer, of course, is really big. Sorry if there's some football players in here. They're just too small in Thailand. You need to whip them up there. But and in our prayer card, if you want to take that, email us, tell us you want to connect. That's a great way to do it. Really, I'm just introing my wife because I'm the trophy husband. So my wife led me to the Lord, and we got a little video we're going to show you, and then she's going to come up here. But I just wanted to tell you one of the joys that we have in working in Thailand is that we get to do baptisms. So the lady in the middle with my wife there, her name is Ganiga, and she actually comes to us. We just met her in our neighborhood. We were at a swimming pool, and she was there, met her, and she worked with us. In Thailand, it's very common to have like a house help or a maid, so she was our maid for 3 years, and then she came to the Lord. But you got to know her background. She sold heroin. She's worked in a brothel. She is known in her community as you don't mess with her, or people come missing, or limbs are, she's that kind of person. Now, we joke about that, but she was a very tough individual in terms of in the community, you don't mess with Ganiga. God's transformed her to a point where her daughter, when she became a Christian, we prayed a lot for her because we knew she was a big part of the community, and we prayed, and she became a Christian. And once she was led to the Lord, we didn't know this. Of course, only God would know this, but she was a real evangelist. Her own daughter said the day after she became a Christian, this was one day, she's like, "What did you do with my mom?" Because my mom's always been angry. She doesn't know how to not cuss. And now she's talking about God, and she's talking to other people about God. She's not yelling at people. She's not cursing them out. What happened? And through that example, and people who knew her, knew that this life is transformed. Only God could do something like that. She's led so many people to Christ, and now she's one of the mothers at the orphanage. So only God can do stuff like that. The next picture is breakdancing, and again, it's kind of cool to just be in a country that they do Thai dancing there, and I don't know if you go back enough, breakdancing kind of came up in the 70s and 80s, and we used to do that just growing up in Oakland, and yet God chose a farm girl to bring that to Thailand. She just needed something to do for the kids, and she'll share that. But now it's become one of our biggest ministries where people are coming to watch them. They might be at a mall, they might be at a church, they might be on the streets. They do that all the time, and then they witness, and God is using them to bring others to Christ. So that's all I have. We're going to show a short video on Mac, and then Karen's going to come up.
Good morning. So the great part about that story that day, hopefully you could follow that, hopefully your Thai skills are getting better, was that not only did we find this aunt that he hadn't seen in, 13, 15 years, we actually won that game show. And so it's kind of a little bit like maybe Can You Dance, or what's that show in America? I don't know. You Can Dance. Well, I don't know. It's the equivalent of that. And so the aunt actually stayed for that show. We asked the producers to get us on quickly so she could stay before she had to go back to her job. And we won. And so when you think in terms of, here's a group of little boys whose moms, most of them were prostitutes, and their dads they have died of AIDS, their moms have died of AIDS, so they end up in a government orphanage, then they ended up at a Catholic orphanage, then they ended up with us. And so I remember when we got Mac, he was about 10 years old, and the first day that they came to us, we wanted to take them swimming because it's very, very hot in Thailand. And they said, we don't swim. We've never swam in our entire life. We're sick. We have HIV. And so the orphanage caretakers had always told them, like, you're only going to probably live till you're about 10 years old. So we just want to make you comfortable. So you don't swim. You don't drink cold water. You don't ever eat ice because they believe that's going to make you sick. They had never played soccer, nothing like that. And so first day we took them swimming, and they were just looking at us like, oh my goodness, where have we come? Who are these crazy people? And sure enough, a few weeks later, I was sitting in worship at church, and God said to me, hire them a breakdance teacher. And I kind of went, I think you have the wrong message. Like, I think that should have been for him. Grew up in the inner city of Oakland, California. I grew up on a chicken farm in British Columbia. Woo. But it was me. He gave me that message. So I went to our worship drummer on the team, worship team, and I just said, hey, could you find me a breakdance teacher? And he was like, I'll be right back. So he leaves. He comes back 10 minutes later with Bank, who you saw in the video, and he's like, here he is. This is a breakdance teacher. And so we started breakdancing that night. I hired him to teach them for a couple months, and Mac literally ran out of the room, ran upstairs. I followed him after that, and I just was like, why are you crying? And he's like, you don't get it. We don't do this kind of thing. We are sick. Our lifespan is about this big. We're already 10 years old. And so I was able to just speak faith into him and kind of hope of what we believe in faith God is going to do. So either he's going to heal the kids from HIV, we believe that he can do that, or he's going to sustain them and give them a long life, and they'll live a life just like you and I. And so I asked him to go back and give it about 3 weeks, and if he still hated it, he could quit. And so then, we won the game show later. Bank ended up becoming a Christian about a couple weeks later. Could not believe that the boys had HIV. Wept and wept and wept. And like, how could they have? It's like a death sentence. How, he loved them so much, like little brothers at that point. And just again, to be able to speak to him as he's receiving Christ and just saying, you know what? The good news of Christ is more than just salvation. It's actually healing and restoring all those things that the enemy has stolen from them. So today, actually, kind of the title of our chapel, we actually want to talk about the concept of send me. And so I know missions might be kind of way out there for some of you, but it's been our life for many, many years. And I think sometimes when we hear about being called to missions, it's this sense of asking God, like, what is my call? And so today I just want to turn it around a little bit and have us think about that passage in Isaiah where Isaiah says, here I am, send me. And that concept of going, the last thing Jesus said to us on the earth was go into the nations, go into the world and make disciples, preach the gospel. And just wondering what would happen to the world and to the unreached, right? There's billions and billions of people, especially in that 1040 window that crosses the Middle East and India and Southeast Asia and Asia that just have never heard the name of Christ yet, have never had the opportunity to accept or deny the gospel. And what would happen if instead we as believers said, I'm going to go, send me. Here's what I have and send me. And then if God shuts the door, what a great affirmation that this, our home culture, is where we're supposed to be. We've been in Thailand many years, as Ricky said, and frankly, Thailand has had missionaries for about 400 years, and we're still just about 0.05% Christians, so not yet to 1%. And if we're being really honest, we are desperate for missionaries. We're desperate for just Christian people who are willing to come and live in a nation that is spiritually yet to meet Jesus and just be an incarnational representation of Jesus there. I wanted to share one quote with you from one of my heroes. I think we all need heroes no matter how old we get, whether we think about it or not. And Amy Carmichael here is one of my heroes. And so her story is that she was an Irish young woman and wanted to be a missionary. She ended up in Japan for about 18 months and then got really sick and then got sent home. And she needed a couple years to get better. And she was tenacious, and she was like, I'm going back anywhere. Just send me. And so they sent her to India. And she ended up as a single woman in India, over 100 years ago, doing 55 years on the field, no furlough, never went home. So not married, no kids, never went home. We're blessed to have a little study leave right now and be in our home culture. She never went home, and yet God gave her everything that her heart desired. So this is one of her quotes that I refer to often, and she says, "Does it not stir up our hearts to go forth and help them? Does it not make us long to leave our luxury, our exceeding abundant light, and go to them that sit in darkness?" And just want to encourage you that sometimes many people don't feel like they're the typical church planter or evangelist or, I want to go open an orphanage. But today, missions, and especially in our context, we have teams in about 7 different locations. We often dream about what it would be like if just great Christian folk would come and live in our city and just do their job. So if you're a teacher, you come teach, you get a salary, you don't have to raise support, which I know is really not fun for a lot of people. And then whatever contacts you make, you funnel them to this Christian community there that's Thai, and we have church plants. And you're able to use your gifts and your skills and your talents for being able to reach a nation that doesn't yet have a Christian witness. It has a tiny remnant, which is beautiful, but they kind of lack just the mass amount of people yet to be able to really go out and change a culture. So most mission statistics say that once a culture gets to 2% Christian, they have enough of kind of a workforce to then go out and actually change a nation. And so we're stuck at this, 0.05%, and we're brainstorming and strategizing, and we're desperate for fellow workers to come. So I just want to encourage you that if you're in agriculture, go farm in Thailand, farm near us, and see what God does as far as using that skill. If you're a teacher, like I said, if you're a nurse, if you're a business person, there's a whole movement in Thailand right now called BAM. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, business as mission. And it's just people who feel like God's given them a God-given talent to do business. And they'll come and they'll kind of just come alongside a Thai church and bless them, either hire their people or use their business to evangelize. It increases tithing in the national church. And it's a great creative way to use your life for the sake of the gospel. Our life is so short. So short. What do we have, 80 years? Well, my grandma was 103, so there you go. But it's so short, and to use it to be able to bring the light of Jesus to people is such a privilege. Amy Carmichael, she has another quote that I love, and she says, "It is a safe thing to trust him to fulfill the desire that he creates." So the gifts and the desires that he's given each of us are different and unique and beautiful, and he can use that. I think of one time in Thailand, we had someone contact us, and they said, "We're a professional skipping team," like literally skipping. "Can you use us? We're Christians and we use skipping for Jesus." I'm like, well, okay, then let's just pray about that. And God totally opened up this door to do all these open air outreaches with a Thai evangelist, and the skipping team just drew huge crowds. And we had the most amazing 10 days of just doing skipping, like 3 times a day at different locations. And people came to Christ, and they were saved and repented of their sin. And it was amazing, And had someone asked me years ago, like, "Do you think God could use a skipper?" I'd probably say, I don't really know if he could do that. But one of my favorite quotes that I actually said myself, is God doesn't waste anything. And I really think that whatever he's given you in your experiences as a child or now in college, whatever that is, if you approach it with like, "Send me, I want to go to an unreached place. I want to be the light of Jesus." He will use that, and he'll use it for his glory. With Amy, what she ended up doing is she thought she was going to be a church planter. And in the end, a temple prostitute, a young girl that had been sold to the local Hindu temple to be a prostitute for the monks and the people in the community, ran away to her, a little girl named Pravina. And that changed the whole trajectory of her life. She rescued this girl, and she fought for her, and she would not let her go back to the temple. And in the end, God used her to create this huge ministry for rescuing temple prostitutes. And that was many, many decades ago, and it's still running today. She's long passed away, and it's still this 500-acre beautiful compound where they have about 400 kids that they've rescued, 16 nurseries, a hospital. And God is still using that little tenacious spirit that just said, yeah, I'm single, and I might not have much to give, but I'm going to go. I want to leave you with just one little story and a verse. The verse is Revelations 3, verse 8. And it's this super encouraging verse to me many, many times, because often I feel like the number one phrase or prayer that I breathe out there is you picked the wrong person. Because something will come up in church planting or in the orphanage work, and it just feels like I don't have what it takes to meet the need at this moment. And God always comes through, and he always says, that's good. That's good you don't have what it takes, because I'm going to do this. I'm going to work. And so Revelations 3:8 says, I know your deeds. I know that you have little strength, but you have obeyed my word and have not denied my name. I have put before you an open door that no one can shut. And so I just want to leave that with you as an encouragement that God knows our weaknesses. He knows that maybe we don't dare to call out a nation and say, in faith, we believe that statistic in Thailand of being 0.05 is going to be flipped. And instead of being 95% Buddhist and 4% Muslim, God is going to redeem that whole nation. That takes courage and boldness in the spirit. And God knows that most of us, including myself, we don't have that on our own. But he gives us a door with our name on it, and he says, I know that you don't have that strength, but I'm going to open the door for you, and I'm going to use you. So to close, just want to close in prayer with us today. And just focus on kind of that concept of saying to the Lord, send me. My gifts, what I have, it's all for your glory. And if you have a niche for me, I'm going to go. And I'm going to say no, like Amy Carmichael, to all the luxuries and all the comforts of home for the sake of seeing even just one person that otherwise wouldn't have heard the good news.